Good morning. Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome from hither and thou. Welcome from far field and close to home. I appreciate you all joining me this morning. How are you? It's Saturday, at least in my time zone. I suppose in some places it's probably closer to Sunday already. You can always check that, right? The internet time in New Zealand.
It's 5:53 in Wellington, New Zealand.
It's already Sunday. So yeah, anyway, good morning. It's morning for a lot of folks. Obviously, there's a good many of you in the afternoon as well. But yeah, depending on where you are, it's either morning Saturday or morning Sunday, and then everything in between, right? Oh, goodness. How are you? I'm just so excited to see you. Hey, Ganesh, nice to meet you. Welcome. Thanks for coming to the show. Don't get your hopes up too much. It's it's probably just a lot of bugs and sadness today. But we're going to figure it out. So today we're going to continue our exploration of Spring Batch. For those of you who have joined or watched before, by the way, I'm like these go on YouTube. If you want to watch all these videos, they're on YouTube. They're on Coffee Software. So let me get that show going. Let me see, youtube.com at Coffee Software. Let me share my screen. Screen. All right, good stuff. So yeah, most of these videos, the videos all end up here, right, in the live section, and so you can see, parts 1 through, where are we now, 9, and I think this might, I've said this before, I've said this like a lot of times before, but I think this is the last one on the Spring Batch series, right? And I think we'll look at something else next. And I've talked about maybe what we could look at next, and talking to you all as I have during the creation of this series. And by the way, a lot of this, we've had some digressions. We looked at Gradle yesterday, for example. We looked at auto config. We've talked about configuration. We've talked about some other stuff beyond just Spring Batch, but usually in the service of Spring Batch, right? To get to a place where we understood what we're doing with Spring Batch. And so as we've been doing that, we've just been looking at other things. And I think people seem to have questions about core, like Spring framework stuff, dependency injection, component scanning, that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll explore that. Maybe we'll look at that. And we'll do so in terms of Spring Framework 6, which is the new. Good afternoon, Eugenio. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Goof afternoon. Yeah, that feels right. And actually, that's pretty good. That's. I don't know if you know the word goof, but yes, goof is like goofy, like silly. Probably correct. It's probably right for me. Either way, Yes. Let me see. There you go. So you can memorialize this. Wonderful. Yes. See, that was a mistake, but it doesn't feel like it should be. It feels like it's about right. Okay. So anyway, these go up here. So I think maybe the next video we look at the next series. We look at Spring Framework. What do you think about that? I don't know. What would you like to see? Actually, I guess that's the right question. How do I guess I can put a post up here, right? I don't know. Like I'm kind of on the fence. I was thinking, well, we could go to Spring Integration, we could go to Spring Framework, we could go to Spring Boot, of course, but we're using Spring Boot. Everything we're talking about is with Spring Boot. But maybe people don't know about the basics of Spring Boot, so maybe we do that, But you can make. So here's a fact. Like if you make a video called "Getting Started with Spring Boot," you're going to get a lot of views, right? A ton of views because everybody's using Spring Boot. And that's, I will definitely do one of those, of course, maybe even a little series, but I don't want to Spring Boot is a integration of all these wonderful things, right? And so what we've been doing is focusing on individual things in Spring Boot. And so maybe there is room, maybe I could do a series just like, let's focus on the basics of Spring Boot, but then get back into the deep details. Like this has been a look at Spring Batch through Spring Boot. We've been using Spring Boot the entire time. In fact, we even crafted some code that will end up as a auto configuration based on Spring Boot in one of the Spring projects, maybe not Spring Batch itself, but something higher level. So that's this auto configuration. And the reason we need that auto configuration is because we had there's my worker, there's my leader. Let's code Spring Batch leader. This is the auto config. So we got the leader and we've got the worker, and these are two different nodes, two different processing, computationally interesting processing things, right? I'm drinking my coffee out of my Spider-Man thermos that my daughter got me for my birthday because it keeps the coffee warm. So thanks, kid. So let me see. So I don't know where we left off. Where Spring Authorization Server? Yeah, that would be a good one. Yes, actually. So the Spring Authorization Server is kind of an interesting thing right now. I keep waiting. It's usable. You can already use it. It's GA. It's amazing, right? But there's no auto config really. There's no like easy like push button deployment. You kind of have to assemble your own. But you're right. That would be a great for a series because it does require like lots of steps, you know. And I think the idea is that somebody has to build it just once as appropriate for your organization, and then it's consumable for everybody. And so maybe that's a good discussion. Yeah, and you know what? For that, I might even get some guests. I could probably get Joe Granja to join us, or Josh Cummings, or somebody who would know the lay of the land a little bit better than I. I could do an okay demo. Don't get me wrong, but could I talk about Spring Authorization Server for 12 hours like we have with Batch? Probably not. Like it's a brand new thing too. It's only been out a couple of years, So okay, good. Let's see where we are. Let's see. We've got this. We've been doing so much stuff. It's sometimes hard to keep track. I'm going to try and remind people. So let's go through it again. Actually, maybe I can write it down. Maybe that would help. I got to get better at like recapping our journey. Okay, so we have a Spring Batch job. Actually, here we can start with this. We have a Spring Batch job that we've designed here, right? We're injecting the config classes so we can get access to the beans. That's this bean, this bean, this bean, this bean. Let's refactor this. End step. There you go. Oh, we've got the different beans, and basically the job is first step we read the data in. That's this one right here. We read the data in from a CSV file into the database. If that step succeeds successfully, then we go on to the year platform report step, where we move some data from one table to another in a more denormalized, appropriate way. However, if the CSV file is empty, then we have this output status, and if that happens, then we go to the error step. Okay, good. If we go to this step, then the next step after that is to want to process the data. And so here, the idea is you've got some data and you want to do something long running with it, right? Like you want to, and I've given some examples, but you can just think of anything where it might benefit from distribution, right? Where the time to process the data is such that it would be best to do it in concurrence, right? To do it in parallel. And so in this step, we introduced remote chunking. So Spring Batch has the ability to send data over the wire, right? You can send the data anywhere, basically, to another node using Spring integration and message channels. You can watch the recording on YouTube, my friend. Great question. That is right here. So you're asking. It's on youtube.com/coffee-software under the live streams, right? And so you can see here's this one right now. Here's all the other videos, right? All the other parts. Let's Code Spring Batch parts 1 through 8 so far. Hello again, Thomas. Good to see you. So yeah, join me there. These videos are, and these are the long. If you want to like join me for a long journey, and watch everything, every little exhausting detail, then these videos are going to be for you. I suspect at some point what I'll do is I'll synthesize everything we've done and do a new video, a very polished, like half-hour long video, maybe, or maybe an hour-long video. I don't know. Where we just kind of redo everything, but this time no mistakes, no thrashing about, no digressions, no tangents, because we talked about the Gradle, we talked about new stuff. We've talked about a lot of stuff in these videos, but basically we're working towards building this Spring Batch app out. Okay, so yeah, if you want to watch that, watch them there. I should put that on the brand for this stream, I guess. Great question, Rajiv. Thank you for that. Okay, so so we've got these steps. So basically, you get to this step, and you want to do some processing. You want to move the data over to another node. would you be interested in trying out my super base Spring Boot starter? Okay, but can we do it like you know what? We could do like just hanging out chat video stream or something. I haven't tried that. Why not? But let me finish this set. Let's get this done. Let's get this Spring Batch stuff behind us. And today, if everything goes well, and it's a big if, everything goes well, today will be that day. We're gonna put this Spring Batch series to bed, and then we were just talking about what we could look at next. So maybe super base, maybe we just do like a random like stream where we just kind of look at what's new and novel, and then we get back on our focused series, maybe looking at Spring Boot or Spring Framework or Spring Integration or Spring, what did we say, Spring Security, Spring Authorization Server. Okay, so anyway, this year report step, and by the way, I encourage people to check that out, Eda, that's so nice of you. Thank you so much. So look, are you? Can I ask a stupid question? Are you? I don't know. I don't mean to be presumptuous. Are you anywhere near Turkey? I don't know. I'm looking at the name. I'm not very smart. I get stuff wrong all the time. But either way, I don't know if you all are aware, but that number is getting way worse every day. Oh God, I don't even want to Google it right now, but really quick. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, right? Okay, some good news. Somebody was rescued 278 hours later. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Ada. So this has been the craziest thing, and I don't even like looking at the news right now because it's just this nightmare situation. So I'm very sorry about that. People, whatever. So I tweeted this out because I just want people to like, times are tough and all that, but please, people, please. There's where is it? Come on. This one, 18 hours ago, right? Please donate to the victims, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of websites out there. This is an American newspaper. It's whatever. It's just a boring newspaper. And so you could find anything. You just go to any resource you want. This newspaper has links to other places you can donate. Charity Navigator and Turkish Red Crescent, the Red Cross affiliate, and all these other things you can donate. I don't know where you should donate. Okay, I'm not in that business, but maybe this newspaper does. You can find it. You can go to Forbes.com or BBC has something, and CNN, or whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just find something and donate. I know times are tough. I know there's a recession, but God, like it was 43,000 people yesterday, 18 hours. I'm sure it's even higher now, which is, absolutely the worst. So anyway, thank you for joining us today. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for the kind thoughts, and I appreciate that. Okay, so what are we going to do today, friends? Well, we got this app. It's working, or at least some definition of working. Let's turn it into a native image. That's all I want to do. Hey, I haven't even tried this. It might just work. I might just be able to do great old, native image or native compile, and very bad earthquake, a nightmare. And I'm so sorry, Eda. It kills me. It's just the worst. And it's not, there's nothing anybody could have done, right? That's why we have to care, is because this could be us tomorrow. It could be anywhere in the world, just stuff happens like this. It's nature, and now people are miserable. 43,000 human beings that were here 2 weeks ago aren't here now. They all just disappeared overnight, over in the blink of an eye. Nobody got to say goodbye. There was no, last thoughts. There was no nothing. It was just, they were here and then suddenly they weren't. So, that's not great. That's terrible. Okay. So, sorry, I'm gonna try and focus on this. Otherwise I would cry. It would just makes me so angry. So we've got this repository, we've got this code, and all I want to do is turn it into a GraalVM native image, right? And that's because I want my app to be as efficient as possible. So let's try it. Hey, I might just try it. It might just work, and we can just, it'll be like a 20-minute live stream. Wouldn't that be nice? You could all go to the park instead of watching me write code. But let's see. This is the leader. Who knows? Nope, already failed. Okay. What failed? Uh-oh. Native compile was not found. Oh, but I don't have the GraalVM support in the Gradle build. That's an easy fix. We can fix this, my friends, by reinstating that. Okay. I think I saw that one coming. Nope, still failed. Why? Game by year cannot be accessed from outside package. But why would game by year need to be public? Okay, well, whatever. Let's make it public. Okay, let's just say that is the use case. I don't know why that's true, but if it is, we can fix that, right? That's easy enough. And I suspect we're going to have to do the same thing for all of this. But I don't like that. It shouldn't need to be public. That's a bug, it feels like. So what's happening here, friends? What's happening is we're going to turn this into a GraalVM native image. GraalVM hates surprises, right? So what it wants to do is to take your code and be 100% certain that you're not going to create a new class or do reflection or create proxies or do JNI or do serialization or anything like that. And in order for it to do that, it needs to be 100% sure that this code that it's going to compile into native operating system and architecture specific code is invariant. Okay. And in order to do that, it looks at the code, it does static analysis, and it throws away everything that it doesn't already see at compile time. And that means if you do reflection, if you do proxies, if you do anything else, it'll get upset because it doesn't see that stuff. It can't see that. It's all reflection, it's all dynamic. So you have to tell it about it at compile time with some configuration files. But that configuration can be very burdensome. And so in Spring Framework 6 and Spring Boot 3, we have a AOT engine that generates configuration. So let's see. Error, cannot find symbol. Why is that true? Wait, okay, RMRF build creative. So, okay, it's doing something. So you can see it's generating resources, it's generating config for us, and it's also transpiling the code. It's looking at our bean configuration. Remember, imagine you're writing Spring. Don't write Spring, but like imagine you're writing a new Spring framework and you want to support @bean, okay? So you've got a class here called, where is it? @configuration. And this is a class and it has methods, and those methods have annotations. So you would have to find this class by doing component scanning. That involves a lot of reflection. And then you find this method, and it's not public, it's package private. There's no public modifier. So then you have to do some reflection there. Then you find this annotation and you inspect the annotation, more reflection, right? So all of this means that Spring is doing lots of reflection when you start up the JVM. So instead of doing that, what the AOT GraalVM support does, oh, hey, it worked. Okay. I mean, I don't know if it worked, but it looks like it worked. Build native compile. Okay, well, let's see. Parameter 4 in constructor year report step configuration required a bean of type that could not be found. Let's see, is that still the case? Let's run this on the JVM just to make sure. Well, so that does work on the JVM. So why doesn't it work on the GraalVM? So let's see. Chunk channel. Item writer. Consider defining a bean. Rajiv, buddy, old pal, just type in youtube.com and then @ and then coffee software, one word like this, like that. and you'll find the URL. So, okay, so why is this failing? That's a good question, my friends. Good question. Parameter 4 of year report step configuration. I don't know. Year report step configuration. Let's see here. Classes. Year report step configuration. This one. It needs something of type. So the question is, does that type exist? And here we can inspect the build directory, generated AOT sources, where's my code living? Com example batch. So you can see it's transpiled our code and created a, let's see, this is called chunk. We're looking for a bean of type chunk message channel item writer. Okay. There we are. So that's this thing right here. It's in year report step configuration. Where does that bean get generated? Do we even see it? Let's see. Year report, year platform, year report step configuration, bean definitions. Get year report step configuration. Get year report step configuration instance supplier. That's this bit right over here. Get year platform sales item reader instance supplier. That's the item reader for SQL. Get year platform sales item reader bean definition. Okay. So that's just wrapping this. Well, where's the thing that's producing this? That's the question, right? So is that an auto config? Is that down here? Get chunk auto configuration. Okay, fine. Leader chunk auto configuration. Leader chunk auto configuration, blah, blah, blah. Get leader request message channel instance supplier. That's this. Get bean definition. Bean instance supplier. Bean definition for that. This one. Chunk. No, that's the item writer. No, that's not it. We want chunk message channel item writer. Is here. Yeah, that's this one. Get bean instance supplier for get leader chunk message channel instance or item writer instance supplier. Okay. Okay, let's see. Why is this not there? So leader auto configuration. I'm debugging the generated code because what I want to see is, does this bean that we're looking for here ever get created? Bean instance supplier for an object of type chunk message channel item writer, right? That looks like this. So in order to build that bean up, Spring at compile time is generating this method here called, it's using for factory method, leader chunk auto configuration, leader chunk message item channel message item writer. It has a constructor, right? That's the auto config that we built earlier. With this generator, register bean, get the chunk auto config, and then call leader chunk message channel, passing in args0, which is of type messaging template. So seems like that should be it, right? Oh, I wonder if it's because of the step scope. Is that possible? Because I don't know if that implies some special behavior that I need to know about. Oh, right. That's this part right here. Oh, I hope not. That should work, right? That should be okay. To debug it, just because actually I don't know why this is step scoped, to be honest with you. It's not like it changes. It's not like we're injecting anything different here. Does the bean need to get created? No, it doesn't. It's chunk message channel item writer. It should just do the same job every single time it runs. So there's no reason for that to be step scoped, come to think of it. So let's publish this to our local repository. Publish to Maven local. Okay. Starter. And now let's rebuild this thing over here. I don't know. I have no idea why that would make a difference, but I do kind of wonder. So let's do a native compile here. Okay. GraalVM native compile. It'll take another minute. It takes about a minute to do this work. To kind of appreciate what's happening, like you go here, go to start.spring.io. You say, I'm going to build a new demo app. You bring in GraalVM support, GraalVM native image support. And this works for Maven or Gradle, of course. You can use either one. But let's say I want to build a reactive web. Okay, great. Hit generate. Go here. UAO demo.zip. Okay, we'll let that do its thing. So let's just simple, like let's just talk very, very simple. Okay, I've got this Spring Boot application, and let's just keep an eye on that over there. That's the batch support. That's still compiling. We'll keep that above. Okay, good. Okay, so let me just see if this worked first. I'm just very curious. Build native compile leader. Oh. No method found with name before step on class chunk message channel item writer compatible with the signature of step execution. What? Chunk message channel item writer. No method. Do I need to like contribute hints for that? So let's see here. Where's this code right here? So I think we're making progress. I just don't know what that. So it looks like this type needs to be registered for reflection, right? And so let's allay that static class hints implements runtime hint registrar. Okay. And this can be here, import runtime hints.class. Hints in there, yeah, that's this one. And I'm going to say hints.reflection.register type. And then the type, of course, is our thing here, chunk message channel item writer. Member value, category values. Okay, so I'm registering that type for reflection. Publish that to Maven local. And then restart that process again. And actually, let's put that in a script, huh? So I'm going to take this. Okay, so we'll do touch native.sh chmod ax native the script, a little bash GraalVM native clean and GraalVM native compile. And okay, so we're just going to run these three things. And probably I could have just done this. Come to think of it, I don't care if they all chain together. Okay, good. There's this. Git add native, and just rerun native. Okay, that'll run. We'll check back in on that in a second. So okay, to understand what's happening, because it's very confusing when we've got that big Spring Batch application with auto config and all these moving parts. So let's just simplify a little bit here so we can kind of understand what GraalVM's compilation is doing for us. Okay, so let's say I've got a foo and I have a bar, and foo depends upon bar. So bar, and we can add that to the construction. And I want to create let's say I tell Spring that this is one bean, right? And I tell Spring that this is another one. Actually, we'll do it the other way around. I'll make this one a add component. And I'll make the bar a bean method. Okay, so I can say class my config, create bean bar, return new bar, configuration. Okay, so okay, look at that, my friends. We got so far. No serializer found for. Okay, so I got to register these types in my application. These are my custom types. Of course, Spring won't know about those, so that's fair, right? I have to register those for reflection. That seems reasonable. So let's do that here. I've already got some hints for this, so it looks like I'm already on the way. I don't know if I need that hint though. I probably do. This hint is already there. I think I filed an issue about this because it's actually something that I don't think I should have to. Okay, yeah, close this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is a duplicate. Okay, thanks for reporting. This is meant, this fix will be included in the upcoming 5.01. So it's already fixed in the snapshot. So when you're watching this at any point in the future, this is 5 days ago, Spring Batch 5.01, which is, I would just wait for the next Spring Boot point release, the .1 or whatever release point, .03, whatever we're at now. I think we're at 03 still, right? So Spring Boot 3.03. So wait for 3.04 and it'll probably be there. No, that's a snapshot. So we're on 3.02. Is that true? Let's see. Yeah, we're on 3.2. So 3.02. So wait for 3.03 to come out and that'll probably have the new Spring Batch stuff. But anyway, I registered that. For now, we need that. But we do need to register our own custom data types, right? Because, of course, we're serializing those and we're doing reflection on those. So we've got year report. Let's create another list here of set.of class. And what other types do we have here, my friends? We have let's see, game by year class, and we have here platform sales class. Is that it? That looks about right. So for each class, we're going to call hints.reflection.register type class, and we're going to do that. Let's register reflection. Make it so I can reflect upon the constructors, the fields, the methods, the whatever, everything, right? So I can do that with this. Okay, so let's run that again. Let it do its thing in the background. Meanwhile, we'll go back to our simple example. Okay, so we've got these two things, right? So think about what Spring is doing here, right? When Spring starts up in a regular JVM, JRE, Spring Boot-based application, finds this configuration class, it finds this add component annotation, it looks at the methods and the constructors on this class and on this class and on the bar, and it says, oh, okay, this has got a constructor. It takes a parameter of type bar. Oh, darn, where do I find bar? And it looks in the rest of the Spring context, and it says, oh, okay, this configuration class is producing it, so I can inject this into here, and that allows me to create a valid foo, right? And that happens at runtime. It does all that scanning, all that component scanning and reflection and method invocation and all that stuff at runtime normally, okay? But like I said, with GraalVM, GraalVM hates all that stuff. It hates reflection, it hates proxies, it hates component scanning, it hates JNI, it hates resource loading, it hates all the serialization, all the stuff that requires dynamic behavior about the meta programming, all that kind of stuff. It just really hates it. So, did it work? Oh no, it's almost there. What happened now? Serialization constructor, class not found for declaring class. Okay, chunk request. Oh yeah, we need, okay, the chunk request needs to be serialized. That should go in the configuration though, right over here. So where's so the data that gets sent across the wire with a Spring integration, right? That's called a chunk request. And I already know that we need to do the same thing. Whoops, I should put this in a set just like I did before. So set.of. And then I can put this one here. I'll say same thing as before. I'll say dot for each. Pass that there. C. Okay. So that's On the leader side, on the worker side, I can tell you we're already going to have to deal with the response as well. And I think we have the chunk response as well here, so we need both. Actually, you know what? That's a good point. Maybe we can put that somewhere central. These two types can be somewhere central. They should be run no matter what. Okay, so let's do that here. Static class hints implements runtime hints registrar. Runtime hints registrar. Okay, and we'll say set that of and then we're going to say set that of for each C hints.reflection dot register type C or category dot values. Good. So there's this, and we just import that. And so hints.class. All right, good. So any questions on that? Like this is how you tell GraalVM about some of the dynamic things you're going to do with Spring, right? So you're saying, hey, something in my Spring app somewhere, maybe it's my own code, maybe it's Spring Framework code or Spring Batch or whatever, but something is going to do something dynamic with these types, chunk request, chunk response, etc. So you need to make it so that reflection is allowed. So I'm saying, I am going to do reflection on these types. Please allow me to do reflection of all kinds. I can ask for fields, declared fields, public methods or whatever. Or if you're lazy like me, you just say dot values, and that gives you all of them. That way, it's guaranteed to work, right? If reflection is the problem, this is how you get rid of the problem, no matter what the nature of that problem is. Okay, so this is a auto config. You can see it's right here, chunk auto config. So, I can. It's left for J. Log info running. Chunk auto configuration.class.get name, right? Good. Okay, so let's publish this to local. Now it's this hint. Anybody who uses this auto config will automatically get these hints, right? And they'll get the correct support. Let's go ahead and re-kick off our build. So this is good though. Look, in order for it to get to this point, it's getting all the way to the bottom of the build where we're sending the data over our remote chunking support over RabbitMQ. So it's trying to serialize this object called a chunk request and a chunk response, right? It hasn't given us the chunk response yet because it wasn't successfully able to send it because it couldn't serialize the chunk request because it couldn't do reflection on that. But basically, we've just solved that, right? So we're in a good place. I think we're close to making the leader work. Let's let it compile and do its thing. And we'll go back to our simple example in the meantime. So here's our simple example. Foo and bar. Now, I want to turn this into a native image. Okay, so let's do that. We'll go here. And, like you can imagine what it's doing at runtime on the JRE. But in order to get rid of all that, I'm going to do GraalVM tasks. And I'll show you what the GraalVM native image compilation is doing. First, let's load all the tasks. And we have a task here. There's an AOT subsystem. Okay, so I can say assemble AOT classes. Does that do it? Assemble? Probably does. I don't know. Yeah, let's just try it. So we'll take that right there. Command C. This one, AOT classes. What does that get me? So it's just going to do AOT compilation. It's not going to do the full GraalVM native image, but you can see it's done the transpile, right? It took the at configuration, it took all that stuff, and it generated these classes. So here's my demo application. This is all synthetic, right? This is all like cdlib and all that stuff, and it even generates source code. So here's my demo application. This is that thing we just looked at, right? You can see that it's created this static factory method, not static. It created a factory method here, where we are using the programmatic functional API to register beans. So it's saying, okay, register a bean definition called demo application, and the static method that creates that bean definition lives here, okay? And the application, the name, the class of the bean is called demo application, right? Because the main method class is still a bean. And, this class is configured, by this instance supplier, right? So it's an instance supplier. I can go to that and I can say, okay, look, that's this thing right here. And it's going to provide all the, the actual bean. So all this gets evaluated we do the AOT stuff at compile time, and it dumps out this new source code. And then that source code is a much faster. It skips all the reflection. It just programmatically pulls together all the different beans in the context into one big, wiring of applications. All the glue, all the wiring, all that stuff is resolved at compile time. So now when you deploy this GraalVM native image, when you start this one up, you're not starting up this, you're starting up this, right? And this is optimized to be super fast. No reflection or very little. And very, very, very little reflection, very little component scanning and serialization. All that stuff is just like resolved already, as fast as possible. So it goes very, very quickly when you start it up. Speaking of quick, did our build finish? Oh, look. Still? Chunk request. Did that hint not get run? Wait, did this? Wait, so we can always debug this, right? Where's our serialization config? Sources, generated. AOT resources? Yeah, here. Okay, so you can see reflect config, chunk request. There it is. I totally asked for it, but what's the issue? Batch integration chunk request. Class not found for declaring class. I don't know. Wait, did it compile? Did it fail to compile? Looks like it compiled. Something's funky, my friends. Great question there. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you think it's amazing. It's not working yet, so let's not count our eggs before they're hatched, right? But yeah, have I required issues that required debugging? Yes, of course. Who hasn't? And unfortunately, like whenever I restart IntelliJ, it look right there. It actually, see, GraalVM debugging isn't supported on macOS and Windows. Oh, why tell me? Why not just like disable the feature or something, So it is possible to debug a GraalVM native image, but it's only possible on Linux, and it's super, super buggy at the moment. So this is one of the disadvantages to moving to GraalVM, and that's why we hope that we can make it as seamless and painless as possible. But yeah, there's going to be some bumps in the road, and I would just budget a few days to make your app work. But once you do, it's pretty easy to then just keep it working, right? And as I like these hints, like the auto config here that we're looking at, oh wait, there's actually this. What is this? Oh, it's the same thing. Serialization config. I don't understand why that didn't work though. Chunk request started being. Usually, as we move forward in time, we find little corner cases like this chunk request and chunk response should be registered automatically by Spring Batch. That's not something that we should be doing, but it's not. So when we're done with this stream, or even maybe, in the middle of it, once we figure out what the issue is, we're going to file an issue and they'll add it. They've already added most of the stuff that is required. They've already made it so that most of it just works out of the box. But, we need to be aware. Okay, so why is this issue serialization constructor access for declaring class chunk request? Okay. And I feel like we've already done the work. So let's delete this directory. Right? Goodbye. I thought I did Gradle clean, but I don't know. I'm not even sure. Did this autoconfig run? Or did I not publish it? I don't think I published it. Maybe that's what it was, right? So let's go to the batch module here. I published this before. Okay, go back to the leader. And native again. Okay. I think we fixed that. I'm a little surprised that we got the same error. So maybe I didn't publish it to my local Maven repository before I resumed the build here. And if that's the case, then, shame on me for not paying attention. Okay, so where are we? We're over here in the sample example, foods and bars and all that stuff. And you can see what is generated, and you can see the, like if I did, let's see, here's my foo bean definition. It's creating a foo bean definition for type foo and creating an instance supplier. So basically, when somebody asks for a bean of bar.class, when they ask for a foo, then we can create a bean instance supplier that it has a constructor that takes a bar, and here's the actual Java code to instantiate the object, right? New foo taking in the bar single constructor parameter. And that's all just generated for you. So it's a lot faster. It's very, very efficient. But it helps to understand that that's what's going on. Your code is this code by the time it turns into a native image. And then we also, the DSL that we're using here, the DSL to, what happened again? Am I Java lang object? Wait, didn't I write out some logs in the batch? So this running, we should see running autoconfig. If we don't see that, then I'm not convinced this is actually happening correctly. Running, oh yeah, there it is, okay. Wait, did we start that up correctly in the GraalVM native image? Standard class hints, chunk auto configuration, import runtime hints. This should have gotten evaluated at compile time. That's the important part. We can see it got started up at runtime. Okay, where's our batch code here? Okay, I mean, I'm not trying to understand what's going wrong. It feels like we're doing exactly what they want us to do. Reflection, register type. Here are these types. And if you look at the chunk request, chunk response, they're serializable. So we are just writing them. We're saying we want to serialize them. Oh, we need to register serialization. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, I want to call attention to an idiot. This is an idiot right here. Not a very smart person. And I blame it on just years of not thinking enough. But this is for reflection. Very clearly, what it's trying to do is serialize the data. So yeah, I can't. It was telling me what it wanted, and I'm just ignoring it. Okay, I'm sorry. There. So I'm going to serialize and reflect. Okay. The serialization is arguably even more important. So, okay, this should, I would be very surprised if this doesn't work. I mean, if we get a new error, that's fine, but the same old error, no. Hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go quickly use the restroom. So I'll be back in like 20 seconds or whatever. Very, very, very quick. I'll give you something to talk about. Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss. Be right back, okay? Okay, I'm back. Where did our build go? Now I'm really confused. Oh, chunk. Okay, that's good. So we're making progress. It's a new error. Oh, so yeah. Yeah, I don't need to stop the camera. It's off camera, right? But okay, so declaring class chunk. Good. We're making progress. So the errors are usually pretty good if you're just paying any attention at all, which I wasn't because I'm, not so good with the brain. So here we just add another type here. Okay, chunk class. Add that. Great. Publish to Maven Central, Maven Local, and then we rerun the build. So silly. Can't believe I didn't think about that. Okay. Or coffee, clearly. How you all doing today, by the way? Having fun, I hope. Nice Saturday. Weather.
It's currently clear and 50 degrees.
Well, Fahrenheit, not Celsius. 50 Fahrenheit and Celsius.
The answer is 10 degrees Celsius.
10 Celsius right now. It's nice. It's nice weather. I could put on a jacket and go for a nice drive or take a little walk or something, That'd be kind of nice. Okay. I'm pretty excited. This looks like it's going to work soon. I feel like we're close. I mean, we're very close, right? It's just and this is why this takes time. Nope. Oh, I'm so close. So close. Step contribution. Okay. So I see how this game's going to go. We're just going to have to keep doing this. And again, I think all this stuff should be in Spring Batch, right? We don't want to have to do this ourselves. But for now, we'll just keep at it. Okay. We'll rerun. And so actually there's, you can do, how did you do that? You say, remember, register type reference, register type, if present. There you go. So you can say, I want to register this hint for this class to get registered as, I want to, so basically when you register these types, you're telling GraalVM to create extra data in the native heap, right? And that extra data in the heap takes up space and it can slow your program down just a little bit, right? And because it does that, you got to be careful. You don't want to that's why we don't just make everything. We could just scan every class on the class path and just register it for reflection, serialization, proxies, blah, blah, blah. But you would lose all the benefits. You'd get back to basically streaming, Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, I like that it starts up okay, but then it exit status. Oh man, do I have to do all of this? Okay, let's see. Here we go. At least it's telling us what it wants, right? At least it's not like when you have a baby, and little babies, they can't tell you what's wrong, so they just cry. GraalVM is very good about saying, okay, this serialization for this class right here doesn't work. Usually adding this class to this file fixes it. And you know what? It does. So reminds me of the early days of trying to compile a native image of a Groovy script, constant trial and error, exploring new classes that have to be added to the reflection configuration. Yeah, it's trial and error. It is 100% that. And we try, again, once I put all these hints into Spring Batch itself, guess what? Nobody else will ever have to deal with this. This will probably just work out of the box, right? But remember, this is all fairly new, and the basics of Spring Batch work, right? Like you can see when I run the program, we get all of this stuff, RabbitMQ, Spring Batch, Spring Framework, Spring Integration, all that stuff just works already. So we are just doing a very specific thing. We're trying to do remote chunking, which is something that is it's a great feature, but it's very small. It's not like everybody's using remote chunking. A lot of people are just doing batch for ETL, but I love when I can do batch and integration. That's what this remote chunking is, right? So I guess they just haven't had time to add that to the. And by the way, we're also using Spring integration, and the fact that that all just works out of the box as well. We're using Postgres. We're using, just a ton of stuff to get this remote chunking thing to work, and most of it already just works. It's just we don't have to write any of that. We're just adding this little stuff here. Okay, this one is now telling us what. Usually adding entity, Spring Batch Core entity. What's an entity? I don't even know that class. But okay, no problem. We can fix this. Oh, here again. Okay. All right, looks good. Entity. Gradle published to Maven local. Go back to our leader node, Control C, native, and reset. That's why I'm hoping when I do this, like when I revisit this and I'll just do like a regular YouTube video instead of this live series, I'm gonna they can be added in a JSON file, but I don't want to write them in the JSON file myself, right? That's a good point of it, right? These things can be added to the JSON file myself, but that's what's happening behind the scenes. I'm using this nice type-safe, refactorable Java API with Spring, and it will write out the JSON file, right? So every single one of these types gets registered in the generated resources down here. So resources, AOT, reflect config, etc., etc., etc. Any recommendations of books for learning Spring integration? Oh, that's a great question, Mike. I wrote a book. Don't read it. I mean, you could. It's fine. But remember, it's 10 years old, right? I wrote a book called, maybe it's 11 years old. I don't know. Pro Spring Integration, right? This one. Yeah, there you go. Pro Spring. No, that's not it. I want the integration. Thank you. Yeah, Pro Spring integration. This is from 2011. Wow, so it's 22 years old almost. 12 years old almost. Yeah, it's an old book, and it was fine. But Spring integration is a totally different thing now, and so that's why I keep thinking maybe the next series I'll be covering Spring integration, because I love Spring integration. Spring integration is where I first wrote bugs. The first bugs that I contributed to Spring, I contributed to Spring Spring integration. Oh, bother. Step execution. Okay. We'll keep doing this until it works. Looks like this whole remote chunking subsystem needs to be revisited, right? Like for these hints, that's what we need to work on. So Mike, back to your question as to what. Let me kick off this build here quick. Yeah, so Spring integration books. Even there's actually Spring integration in action, and that's a great book as well. But that's also probably that's 11 years, right? That's from the founder of the project, Mark Fisher and Ewain Fold and Marius. So Ewain and Marius no longer are with us. They're alive, of course. They're fine. Don't get confused. But Marius is he's over at Red Hat. Ewain is elsewhere doing amazing things, and Mark Fisher is now a principal engineer, a P8. Like I'm a P7 on the Spring team, right? I'm a P7, and that's I don't know why I am, but Mark is one of the biggest top engineering talent in the company. He's amazing. So he's doing all sorts of stuff around Kubernetes and data and cloud and all that stuff. So he's doing different things now, but he started Spring integration. He's the person that made the mistake of getting me this job. Every time I see him, I remind him, see, you could have hired somebody good, but you got me instead. And I remind him how silly he is. Okay, let's see execution context. Let's see, almost there. I think we're making progress. At least I feel like statistically this will just we'll get there eventually. And if you don't want to do this, by the way, there's actually a Java agent that you can run. So you run your Java program with the Java agent loaded on the JRE, and then it will automatically capture all the classes that are being used in a reflection and so on. And so I actually even talked about that in my Spring Tips video, looking at GraalVM, AOT, etc. from last November. I think it's like 2 hours long. It's a Spring Tips video. So you can use that, and it works fine. But the problem is it's I wouldn't use what it gives you directly, because remember, a lot of these classes have random names. You know, they're just UUIDs and stuff. So they change from one run of the program to another. They're not stable across multiple runs. And so the program is going to give you that Java agent will give you, the random cglib generated classes, in JSON instead of getting the right type. It'll give you this stuff. It'll give you a lot of garbage basically, and it's also going to give you stuff that Spring will automatically register for you, so you don't need all that. So the trick is to take all the stuff that it captures and dumps out into JSON files, and then find only the things that Spring isn't already providing, and then you can just add those explicitly. Okay. It's always serialization. Concurrent hash map. That's a problem? Why? What? Why do we care about that? Why is that like something that we have to worry about? Okay, well, at least we're out of the Spring Batch code already. Maybe it's just temporary, but it feels good to be in another part of the JDK and another part of the class path. Okay. Okay, there's this. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Batch leader, please. Where's my leader? Here we go. Okay, so as for Spring Integration books, just Spring Integration, that's a little old, but I remember this one. Yeah, this one's like, how old is this one? I think I wrote the forward for this one. How old is it? Where's the date? This has got to be close to 10 years as well, right? Like, see all formats and 2012. Yeah, it's an old book. Okay, let's see here. Interesting. I haven't seen this book in a while. Reentrant lock. Okay. Okay. So done with the demo. We don't need that anymore. We do need this to work, however. Okay, the latest Spring Interaction has a brief section that's a nice intro, but definitely interested in learning more about Spring Integration and Spring Cloud Stream. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If I did a stream, if I did a live series, a Let's Code series on Spring Integration, would you watch? Because that's what I was thinking about doing next. Truly, that's, I love Spring Integration. Yeah, if it sounds like there's at least one person who'd watch, I hope that's true. I think if we get this thing working on GraalVM today, then we're done with Spring Batch for now, right? I mean, we've done as much as we can do. I'll send a pull request with some of these hints for Spring Batch, right? But the next Let's Code series I wanted to do was Spring Integration. 2 people. Yay. Okay, good. Yeah, that was my hope, is to dive right into Spring Integration. Spring Integration is as good as I am with Spring Batch. I wrote a book on Spring Integration. I have a lot more fun there. I know what I'm doing. I was actually a committer on Spring Integration. That's the other thing is, like if you look at GitHub.com, Spring Integration. Oh, it failed again. Why? Let's see here. Concurrent hash map segment. What the heck? Okay, we go here. segment. What is this? It's a nested class. Is it not public? Okay, let's go look at the source code. This. Okay, run hash map. Segment. So here's a good, this is, I think it's a private class. That's probably what's happening, right? So segment, private static, segment, segments. Static class segment extends reentrant lock. Okay, so what's happening here is we've got a class that we cannot access publicly, okay? And thankfully, we have another way we can register that. So what we're going to do here is, what are we going to do? We're going to, that's annoying. Okay, well, you can use a type reference, okay? So these are the classes. So let's simplify here. Let's say var class, we'll call this class literals. Call this class strings equals set.of, right? And we're going to say segment. Okay. Are all equals class literals.stream.map c.get name class literals c.get name, okay, dot to set, and then we want to let's see, new hash set string class, and we'll say all dot add all of these, and we're going to add some ourselves as well. We'll add all dot add all class strings. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. This we're going to say all, and the reason, and then what else do we want to do? We're going to take the strings and turn all of them into type references. So map class name as string, type reference of class name as string. Okay, so to set equals that. So what's the issue now? Hash set. Oh no, that's of course. Okay, so that's var type references is this. There you go. I'm going to use that as my. Okay. So what I've done is I can now have classes and strings. I've created a collection where I aggregate all of them, and then I turn all the strings into type references. And then those type references are what I eventually then use to register these hints for reflection and serialization. So now it's just one loop through that final thing. We'll deploy that. Go here, rebuild. Let's make sure I got the error, the type correctly though. I don't have the type correct, right? I don't have, it's going to be this whole fully qualified thing, $sign segment. Okay, copy, go back to that again. Java segment. Okay. Good. Good. Okay, so Java util concurrent hash map segment. Good. Publish that to Maven local. Now what? Go back to leader and recompile. Please work. Oh, I feel like we're so close. And that was kind of a fun. I mean, those type references are sometimes hard to wrangle into place. It's not that big a deal. If you've got a handful, you can just programmatically register one by one. But I like to keep them in lists because they tend to like gang up on you. You know, Spring projects, Spring integration. Okay. But so here's Spring integration, and if you look at this, this is like, I love Spring integration. Look at all these beautiful modules, right? So XMPP, XML, web services, WebSockets, WebFlex, syslog for syslog-d for metrics, that kind of stuff. Stomp, SMB for like Samba, right? File shares, SFTP, Redis, RSocket, JPA, Cassandra, Feed. Okay, so like I love all this stuff, but let's look at a few of them just for fun. Okay, so look at the feed support, and there, right? Like you can see since 2.0, much long, right? For example, or if you go back up to here and you look at what's another one? XMPP. I think I did that one too. Java inbound. Let's just look at something old. There you go, Josh Long, right? Since 2.0. So a lot, like there's a bunch of them. There's like half a dozen at least that I started, and some of them I use all the time. Like that feed one, I wrote code recently that used that. I use it all the time. It's just it's great for if you're using Mastodon today, which is Atom RSS feeds, then that's a great thing as well. Okay, friends, we're almost there. Look at this. What do we got now? Abstract ownable synchronizer. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Go back here. Start. So by the way, Spring integration is now at version like I don't even know what version is it now. It's very hard to find. Let's see. Wait, can I find it out here? If I go to my build.gradle and I go down here. Spring integration. You have to look at the dependency management, but in Maven you could just like command click and go see. How do I print it out now? I guess I can do print dependency management. Dependencies? No. Properties, is it? Properties. Spring integration version. Right? I think that's it. So I just did Gradle W tasks. Does that? Oh, well, something like that. Register tasks that register version dump. Right? Can I do that? Tasks version. Oh, please work. 6.02. Okay. So we're in 6.02 of Spring integration right now. So when I say version 2.0, and the Spring integration is now 6.0, as you can imagine, it's been a while. It's been a long, long while since I worked on that code directly. But basically, I love this code. I love this code base. It's one of the few things where I spend, well, it's not. I mean, part of what I do is I spend as much time as I can just working through all the different Spring projects. But this one, like, you can see all these people that have come after since I introduced this stuff to make it better. And these are all, every person on this list is a much smarter person than I am. So the code has gotten really good. Don't let it be scared. Don't be scared just because it was mine to begin with. It's not terrible now. Let's see. We've got SFTP. That's a sample, or is it? Oh, source, main, Java, inbound. I don't even know what this looks like these days. Yeah, there you go, another one, Josh Long. So like the original code for the SFTP support, the feed support, there was Twitter support in here for years and years that I introduced, and then that got replaced by Spring Social Twitter, and then that got taken out because Spring Social doesn't exist. So like whole generational changes of things that have happened, but a lot of my code still survives. The metadata store that was I had to build that out as part of the thing I was introducing here years ago. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Spring integration is just amazing, and it's such a natural way to think about building solutions too. Okay, so let's see here. Where's our thing? Did it work? I don't even know where we are. Leader. Oh, we're back over here. Abstract queue synchron. What is that? I have a feeling we're going to be here a while, friends. One thing's for sure. I'm going to copy and paste all. Well, this is actually in the chunk. Yeah, this is in the root, so it'll apply for both the leader and the worker. I won't have to re-register this stuff both times, you know. That's not to say there won't be issues specific to the worker that we don't have in the leader, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Coffee. Yeah, Spring integration. Spring integration is, I use it for my blog, like my joshlong.com uses it. I built the pipeline I use to publish my podcasts. I built that. That's a Java process that runs on Kubernetes, and it's all Spring integration as well. Lots of orchestrating different components. Whenever I can. The thing I use to publish tweets, based on new blogs that appear on joshlong.com or spring.io/blog or whatever. That's Spring integration using the feed adapter, right? It seems like Spring integration is just a natural part of my toolkit. It just lets me think. Again, I care about messages. I've got components that emit messages, and I want to respond to those messages. Okay, so let's see here. Reentrant sync. Okay, over here. I don't know if this one's public or not. I'll bet you it's not, though. So we can put that one instead here. Okay. Oh, it's so annoying. Okay. Yeah, what else do we got here? There's FTPS, SFTP, and so I worked on those. Some of the core FTP stuff. I didn't create the FTP module, but I brought it back. Like a guy named Ewain Fold. You'll see he was in Spring integration before I even joined the team, right? I was working on Spring integration as an external contributor, right? This is one of those things where I was submitting pull requests. And by the way, that's real. You want to get a job in open source or working in a cool company, do open source. Just start being helpful. If you have an itch, if you have something you want to try, the Spring team is happy to mentor you. Go to the GitHub issues for your favorite project right here, and you'll find usually by tag. Let me see, filter, blah, 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 labels, right? Ideal for user contribution, right there. Click on that tag. These are all things that are bugs. These are not hard. Like we could every engineer on the Spring integration team could solve these problems, but they're simple enough and not critical at the moment that we just leave them there. If you want to become a contributor to open source, just go click on this issue and say, hey, I think I understand the bug. I'd like to help out, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody will come along. This is the lead of Spring integration, Artem Bilan. Like he'll help you, right? He could write the code himself. This is not hard, right? He just wants he'll mentor you and help you get through the process. He was doing this over Christmas, not Christmas, but December, right? He was helping somebody solve. There's Gary Russell, the former lead and an amazing person as well. There's two people on the issue. So just find one that looks good to you, and don't just write the code. You got to talk to them, right? Leave a message on the GitHub issue, and all the Spring projects have something like that where it's wait, what was the issue? Oh, crap! I forgot to. Non-fair. I don't like that we have to worry about this stuff. This is not Spring Batch. This is like Java. Why do we have to worry about all that? Okay, whatever. So hold on. Control C, please. This one. Copy, please. Go back over here. tedious. Okay. Are there other types that we should be worrying about in reentrant lock? Let's go just take a look. Maybe we can shortcut some of this pain, you know? Static, so class, okay? I just want to find class, whatever. Reentrant lock, great. Sync, we got that one. Non-fair sync, we got that. Oh wait, fair sync. Okay, so there's non-fair and fair. Okay, we're good. So let's go back to our hints and just proactively register all that stuff. So we got sync, non-fair, and fair. Let's just do fair. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Okay, so it extends. So we got both. Now let's just batch here, here. Okay, let that run for a second. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Okay, almost there. I would like to get past this Java util stuff. I'd like to get to the point where it's just, you know, this works. Because once this works, then the leader, I think most of the types are the same between the leader and the worker, right? So the worker should be a lot easier if there's any configuration at all. That's my hope anyway. You know, we've been at this for, like, we started today's stream with the explicit goal of making GraalVM work. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you this has been fun. It's been fun talking to you all, but it's not been fun, like, pushing this rock up the hill, you know. Job execute. Didn't we already register that one? Well, so we're back in Spring integration land, Spring batch land. That's interesting. I guess we did. Okay, whatever. Publish. Control C. Restart. You know, I should probably make some effort to sort these things out by whether they're part of Spring batch or not. Let me think about this. So that's all Spring batch. This isn't Spring batch. That's Java util. Wait, this one goes up here. And that's Java util stuff. Okay. Simple. Okay, so that's all of this stuff is JDK as well, right? So let's see, did we do better? Job instance. Is the whole domain implicated by this? Like, do we have to, like, the whole Spring batch domain, is that transitively being serialized? That's pretty crazy if you think about it. Like, I don't want to think all those things need to be sent across the wire. I could do. Do I have the do I have the Gradle format plugin? The Spring Boot format plugin. So I've got conventions. We looked at conventions the other day. We set up a Gradle conventions for the worker and the sample apps and all that. So my build file is like trivial. And the nice thing is my conventions are here. So Java conventions, here we go. We've got the Java format plugin. We do, okay. So Gradle format. Okay. Let's prove that that's working. Let's say go all the way over here and do the worst thing possible. Go down there, reformat. Consistency, what a win. Git status, git checkout minus B, GraalVM. Okay, git commit. Okay, let's see what we got here. Did that work? Oh, this is so tedious. Okay, restart. Reset, reload. It's gonna feel good once we get this done though. Like, I really hate that we have to do all this. I'm reasonably sure all this stuff is already reflectable. What we're doing different here is we're serializing them, and that's why it's being. I think this is like a blind spot in the coverage that Spring Batch provides out of the box, and that's okay. We can fix this, but like you can use the you can programmatically register stuff based on whether something is present or not. Like I said earlier, so I can say, okay, register. Let's say I say hints.reflection.register type if present, right? So that's very important. What I'm saying is register this type, but only if the type is on the class path, right? And if it's not there, then don't bother. Oh, bother. Linked hash map. You know what? That's probably my code, but let's just add it here anyway. I know I'm using a linked hash map at least one place. Am I? Okay. I mean, whatever. Let's just try it. Hi, John. How are you? Welcome. Always happy to have new faces. Is it possible to draw a small diagram of what we're doing here? Well, we're doing a lot, right? We built a Spring Batch application. Batch applications there's a single job or more. You can build as many jobs as you want, but usually you have at least one job. Each job has steps. Each step can read data and then write data. So that's called an item reader and an item writer. And normally you read from like a database or a CSV file and you write to a database. And then you read from a database and you write to another database, and back and forth. Each step you read and write, read and write, read and write. And in this case, let's see. Oh, it's that last hiccup, right before it fails, when it looks like it's going to work, and then it seizes and it like, oh, did it work? And then it didn't work. Job parameter. Job parameters. So let's go find the Spring Batch docs. Spring Batch documentation. Oh, there it is. No. There's a great picture in here. It's like it's been in here for 15 years. Where is that? What do we got here? Synchronized collection. Hi. Okay. And this. And again. Okay. Sorry. Gotta message my kid. Okay. So, yeah, this is the basic. You have, like I said, you have a job. Each job has one or more steps. Each step has an item reader which reads data, and then the data that comes in from the reader we pass to the writer to write somewhere else. Here's kind of like, oh, that's so frustrating. Okay, collection synchronized set. Okay, fair. At what point does this become like my thing versus Spring Batch versus? Okay, whatever. So synchronized. So it's only private classes. This one. Okay. My kid is learning to drive. I'm hoping she wants to go practice driving with me today. But she's a very busy little girl. She's got like all sorts of things to do. So who knows? Let's see here. Yeah. Anyway, so we get to a step. She's 17 and a half. Yeah, she's almost 18. Almost. She's going to college later this year. She'll be done with high school soon. Very smart little girl, like her mom. Let me think. So we have this JDK types, and it didn't blow up. Hey, we did it. Good job. Okay, now the leader. So I'm going to start the worker node on the JVM just to make sure that this thing still works round trip. Okay, so starting that up. Got a failed to convert serialized message content. Why? invalid class cast exception. So Java util hash set. Is that really a thing? Okay, whatever. Let's just add that here. Okay, well, so this is good. We're having problems with the byte that gets sent back from the service, from the worker. So we're able to send the request out, and then when the reply comes back in, it's throwing an exception, which is fine. We can fix that, right? Let's see here. Oh, so annoying. No. I also wonder if there's like, because right now we're running, because basically what this is doing is it's serializing the data using Java serialization to send it over the wire, right? And I sort of wonder if serialization on the JRE is compatible with serialization on GraalVM. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, that would be a disaster if those things didn't work together, but it feels kind of like that, doesn't it? Hmm. Cool. Let's see what we got here. So we have another error. Linked hash set. Didn't I already register this one? Linked hash map. So annoying. So tedious. Okay. Take 3. I sure hope so. Devox Belgium. Am I going to Devox Belgium? I don't know if they can sponsor my travel, but right now, you'll find that most big U.S. companies are heavily restricting extra budget, right? Where it's just the economy is broken right now here, and so money is very hard to find. I still have a job, that's good, that's important. But who knows? It's been one of those. Like I know lots of people that have lost their jobs here in the United States in the last 6 months, last 8 months. It's just been a very bad time. Yeah, it is sad. Yeah. I mean, it's right now. I'm okay. We have food. Everything's fine. What did it do? Did it work? Waiting for 1 results. Okay, restart. I don't get it. Did it work or not? It's not erroring out. Well, that's the worst. It's not doing what we want, but it's also not working. Okay, wait. So let's kill that. Restart. It's gonna time out over here on the leader node eventually, right? Like, yeah, it failed, of course, because it timed out. But why? Okay. Build native compile leader. Okay, now we got something. Failed to convert serialized message content on the consumer side. What? Invalid class. What's javatime.ser? Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Heck yes, exactly. As long as there's coffee and code, you know, we'll be okay. Let's see. Well, maybe a little bit more than that. You know, life is not that simple, but pretty close, right? Pretty darn close. Let's see here. So it's failing because it can't deserialize this object. Local class incompatible. What is Java time ser? I've never even heard of this class. That's actually a real thing. I don't even know what that is. It's like, what? So am I doing it? Does it need to be registered over here in the batch config? Let's just try. I'll bet you that's gonna make a difference. I don't know why. Oh, of course it's not public. Final class there, externalizable. Goody. Okay, so put that in here then. Okay, published local. And restart this build over here. I'm excited that it's like it seems to be. Oops, it seems to be making great progress over here. So I'm very pleased. Git commit. Heater is almost done. Okay. Git status. Format. Oh yes. Okay. Fine. Whatever. So moving on. So that's the leader. Let's build the native image. If we get this basically working, well, either that or if it's, you know, I'm gonna like time box it another 10-15 minutes, and then I'm gonna go get some breakfast with the kid, and maybe we'll go driving. Let's see here. I don't even know what this class does. So externalizable. What is that? That's interesting, isn't it? Extends serialization. Once the identity of the class of an externalizable instance is written in the serialization stream, and it is the responsibility of the class to save and restore only the identity of the class. Okay, it's to save and restore the contents of its instances. Oh, it's like the claim check pattern. So externalizable means you can write like a little bit, and then the client has to figure out what it means to rehydrate that. Okay, waiting for 1 results. Me too. What is this? Is that a fresh error? It worked. Look, it completed. Oh, okay. Wait. So let's restart this. Okay, doing the job, waiting for. There's the data over there. It came back and it completed over here. Yes. Go team. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hot sauce. Well done. Well done. Really. Okay. So git status. Good. So that works. That's all okay over there. What about on the I'm just going to try. We don't have time to sit here and debug it. I'm going to call it a day I'm going to call it a stream for a while. I might come back later today, but in the meantime, let's just try. I mean, what could go wrong, right? We're in the leader and the worker node, I mean, and we've already done all that work to do that auto config in the shared auto config between both the producer and the consumer. So this is actually chunk auto config. This lives, this is a bit, okay. So first of all, git status Gradle format, git commit, got the leader working, git push. Let's just git push origin GraalVM dash set upstream, a little branch just in case. Okay. Now, what about the leader side? Let's compile this to a native image. What do you think? So let me copy that script from the worker, native. Nope. Copy worker. Sorry, leader. Native here. Git native. Okay. I don't know if this will work. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? Let's just try. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we already did the hard work. Because when you think about it, if I can serialize something on one side, then I should be able to deserialize it on the other side with the same hints, right? Like it's not like there's more data involved on the right than there's on the left. And so maybe we did everything we need here. I don't know. Fingers crossed. Still pretty cool that it works on the leader, right? Did you see how fast that was? Like, and how much memory it took? It takes nothing. It takes like, whatever, probably 100 megs. I mean, for that whole app, that native image. That's pretty cool. You can have a batch job that runs in like milliseconds and is quick to start and also runs pretty quickly and also takes very little RAM. And the idea with a worker here, if we get the worker going, oh yeah, of course the script is different here. If we get the worker to work, then you've got a, remember the worker, you can deploy 10 workers, right? You can deploy 100 of these. They all just listen for new messages off of the queue, so they can start doing work concurrently. They can drain the queue as fast as possible and send back the responses. And so the idea is that you can divide the work by as many workers as you have. If you have to do something long running like generate a report or prepare a video or do some analytics or whatever, you can have 10 nodes that spin up and do that work. And so that's powerful. Okay, so build native compile worker. Please work. Not quite. Let's see. Oh, okay. We have the same issue on the leader. I know how to fix this one. We already had this one before. Where's our leader node? Here. That's what this one is, right here. Yeah. Oop. That's the one I was saying that's actually a bug in Spring Batch, and that needs to get addressed in Spring Batch, and they've already got a ticket. But for now, we'll just put it here. Batch application. Okay. Yeah, we do need this. Okay. Import runtime hints. Okay. So what do you think? Again, let's try again. Okay, close. But anyway, my point is, if this is only like 100 megs of RAM, and usually a JRE application takes a gig of RAM or something like that, you could deploy 10 of these workers on your Kubernetes cluster, and they would use the same resources as one JRE application. And now you've divided the time it takes to do the work by 10, right? So it's 1/10 of the footprint. I'm using rough math, obviously. Benchmark it for yourself, and you'll see there's some incredible multiplication and division going on here. But basically, imagine it's like 100 megs instead of a gig, and you deploy 10 nodes to divide the work by 10, right? That's the point of doing remote chunking. and it still takes the footprint of one JRE application. That's why it's worth doing this, is because the resource utilization, once you get it, is amazing. Good coffee. See, this is like my hourglass. This is my hourglass. When I run out of coffee, that's when we have to stop the stream. Oh, look. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. What? Failed? Why? Couldn't parse the JSON. Why not? Chunk. Do I need to register these types? Do I have these types on the other side here to make it easy? Yeah, I've got year report and year platform sales. So I do need to register some of those types. Otherwise, the serialization won't work. So let's try that. So here we got these two right there. Okay. Because I'm serializing those two types as well, but remember I'm using Jackson. So Jackson doesn't use serializable. It's not serialized in that way. Usually when I see an error related to reflection and serialization, usually it has to do with reflection, which then creates a JSON file. But in this case, the reason we were having that false start in the beginning when we were working on the worker node, on the leader node, I mean, was because we were constantly trying to, I was trying to reflect when actually it was trying to do actual serialization, Java IO serialization, you know? So hopefully this time we fixed it. If not, I'll give it another 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and then we'll call it a stream, my friends. I think we're in a much better place, but I want to go get breakfast. Okay, that's up and running. Let's restart this thing over here. We did it. Look at that. There's our year report 2016, and we broke it down. Cool. Very, very cool, my friends. We have native images. So the auto config works. The sample apps that we built works. We have GraalVM native images for both of these. You can see the actual JVM code. Now there's the data, but scroll up here a little bit. That's the error. Where's my most recent run? It starts up in 146 milliseconds, right? Like it's like, if it was 100 milliseconds, that'd be 1/10 of a second. It's like 0.15 of a second, right? It's nothing. And that includes connecting to RabbitMQ and, the database and all that stuff that has to happen, and then the best part, of course, is get this PID, okay, to PSO RSS that you can see it's taking about 105 megs of RAM, right? Great stuff. So I can obviously that's bytes, so it's 1,000, 105,000, but still, like, that's 105 megs of RAM to run this thing, and it's now doing the work just like you want it to do. Okay, so friends, let's file an issue, okay? While we still remember this code. I'm not gonna bother making it nice. I'll just submit everything, and they'll know what to do, right? So let's see here. Go here, GitHub, Spring projects. Spring Edge. Issues, new issue, bug report, or whatever, I don't know, feature. Okay. 1 second, friends. Phone call. Okay, so, well, where was I? Oh, I was creating an issue, wasn't I? So, native image. Um, okay. Let's see here. Submit. Okay, so there we go. We did our part, my friends. So hopefully that all gets merged in the Spring Batch project itself, in which case people downstream won't need to worry about this. But in the meantime, let's see, git status, git checkout main, git merge squash, GraalVM. Okay. Git status, commit, auto config, leader auto configuration. What is the difference? What did I do in leader auto config? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fair. I have the chunk message channel item writer. That makes sense. Okay, so string T hints, native image support, push. That's the starter. That's the starter. What about our actual code? That's this bit over here. So git status on this is the Let's Code repository. Go back. Git status. Everything's the same. Use an actual GraalVM. Use support GraalVM native images. Cool. My friend, it's been fun. We did it. We go team. That code's on my GitHub and on the Coffee Software Show GitHub. You can find it there. If you're out there watching, please consider joining the adventure. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. You know the whole thing, right? So YouTube, Coffee Software, right? Here's where you should be going right now. Click the like and subscribe button wherever that is. Appreciate your time, everybody. As usual, this was fun. I hope you got something out of it. I enjoyed it. And I'll see you later. We're gonna start a new series. I'm not sure which one. Let me think about it. Maybe when I'm out having breakfast, something will pop in my head. Maybe we'll look at Springration. If you want to let me know, send me some messages on Twitter, or maybe I'll even start a poll here or solicit responses on YouTube. Yeah, good stuff. Bye, everybody. Talk to you later. Have a great day or evening.